Good morning. I decided this year, instead of having a meeting and trying to figure out another Google Meet that we've all had to spend too much time on, I would just do a quick recording of our Hiawatha Valley Adult Education Consortium Spring Update. So I usually start with our staff. I'm the director or manager. Kayla Ekblad is our ABE/GED instructor. She also is the instructor that works at the Goodhue County Adult Detention Center. Dorothy Ekblad is an instructor. She works on computer literacy and PROACT, currently not working with us just because of COVID. She cannot get into the jail, nor can she get into PROACT. Deb Chalmers is our Red Wing ELL instructor, and our new staff is Mary Gassner, who is from Lake City and is our volunteer coordinator, and we'll discuss her position here in a little bit. Obviously, we've all had to deal with COVID changes. We're currently, well, I guess I should have classes first. Currently, we're online. Kayla's going back into the classroom here in a week. She's been vaccinated, so she's ready to go back in at the college. Again, she meets with only 1 or 2 students at a time, so being able to distance is no problem. We have to follow the college's COVID, so students have to go on and go through the COVID checklist before answering the questions, so that they know that they're on campus. So we follow their procedures. Testing, reading, math, there's been some definite waiving of different requirements at the state level. One of them is our reading and math testing. Normally we test students in reading and math using a CASAS test when we first start working with a student, with the idea that it gives us an idea where they're at as far as reading and math, so we know where to start with the student. But then also after 40 hours, we can test them to get an idea or to find out if they're moving forward. So it really gives us a guideline too, and we can see if they're learning and moving in the right direction. So right now we are not testing, so it makes it a little hard. Kayla has put together, for GED, Kayla has put together some online tests that we can at least get an idea of a level. They're not official reading and math levels, but at least it gives us an idea of where to start with the student. The other big change is contact hours. The contact hours across the state, as you can imagine, have gone down. So the state has waived the contact hour for our funding, because normally our funding is determined by student contact hours. But for this coming year, it is waived, so we will be getting next year what we got this year. So that's been very helpful, because it would be very stressful if we were going to have to go off of this year's hours. Our hours are definitely down. We have students working. We've had some good success, but they're definitely not being able to meet and get to know the students and work with the students has been a real deterrent. Again, classes are currently online except for welding, and we'll talk about the welding class here in a little bit. I'm just going to go other changes that we have. We got a week notice that they were moving us at the college from what was called the GPS Center into a new classroom. So we had a very busy week. It was the week before Christmas break. So it was stressful, but we now have a really nice office and a very big room at the college. That being said, we'll probably be moving again next year. So working on on where our room is going to be for upcoming years is a big issue right now. We also lost our classroom at the high school, and we used to have our ELL class in the classroom at the high school. So this is kind of huge to not have this available to us. It's also where I store all of our material, all our past years student information. The room is now being currently used by a student and by a teacher and students. So next year, they've already decided they're keeping the configuration here. So it looks like we won't have that classroom next year either. So that is driving us to offer the ELL class at the college. So working on that, once we can get back into in-person classes, how do we figure out where to have the class? So we're working on that. Moving into classes, our GED Prep classes, again, we have fewer students. They're just not working. It's hard to get them started and really motivated when you can't meet with them at all. We've had 3 GED graduates this year, and this was at half a year. We have a couple that are coming here that should be finishing up before the end of the year, but we're definitely down. Mostly online, and we are seeing across the state as well as in our area that there are some high school students that are frustrated with the distance learning and or have gotten behind and are dropping out. So we're working with currently a couple students that have done that right now. They expect to see some more of that at the end of this year when school gets closer to being out and these kids realize that they don't have the credits they need to graduate. The first test is still free for Minnesota residents. So the first one of each of the 4 tests. So the first math, the first reading, first social, and first science. If they don't pass it the first time, then it'll cost them, then they have to pay for the test. Or if they miss their test, which we had a student do. The MDE is looking at using or adding a different diploma equivalent test. HiSET is one of them, or TASC. And they just said yesterday in a meeting that this will be announced by June. And it kind of sounds like they might be going away or adding to the GED, which is going to be a huge deal for us. One nice thing due to COVID is now GED has figured out how students, if they take the GED Ready test and test ready for the GED, they can actually test from home if they have a computer that is capable of doing that. It needs a camera and microphone. And we are having students coming in and testing in our office. So they don't have to go to a test center. They can actually do it, again, at home or in our office, which is exciting, especially for students who have transportation issues. And also some people with test anxiety are more comfortable in a place they're familiar with. So this is, I think, one of the good things that came out of COVID. Our adult diploma program right now, we've had 4 graduates. We've really worked on curriculum, so we now have, if a student's missing one of a certain class, we have curriculum that we can give them. They can work through with us, and we can get them graduated. We had 2 graduates who actually started at the Goodhue County Detention Center, which is exciting, and it took a lot of work on Kayla's part. To get them keep them going once they got out, but very exciting to get those 2 people with some big barriers their high school diploma. The diploma program, just a quick update. We work with the students. It is a lot more work than the GED, just because they have to meet competency in 5 areas. We have language arts, math, social science, and career development and digital literacy. Language arts, on top of having to have, there's different ways to meet the competency, but no matter if they have 4 credits or pass the GED, everyone also needs to give us a writing sample, which is a research paper. It's more than just a sample. So students really need to work on this, and this can hold people back. I have 2 students right now that just motivating to finish that writing sample has been an issue. Math, they need 3 credits from high school, or they can pass the GED or pass the MCA math test, and that meets that competency. Social, they need to take the 4 classes. If they've taken them, doesn't matter how many credits in social they've had in high school, as long as they've taken 1 government, 1 economics, 1 history, and 1 geography. Science, again, we have biology, earth and space. That's from 8th grade. We have to go back to their transcripts to find that if they're going to use their high school transcript or they use their GED. Here's also, we have the career pathway that they need, a packet that they do, a North Star Digital Literacy, a resume. So it gets to be a lot of work for students. So it's a big accomplishment for them when they get their diploma. It is a lot of work for us also. Developmental Ed, that's working with college students who, when they take the AccuPlacer score below a cut score, we're really trying to work with the college to get our students, our teacher to work with Dev Ed students or students that test at the ABE level, but are still taking a college Dev Ed class. So there's colleges that are working on doing this, and we're trying to do this also. So our students could be working on math, but in a Dev Ed class. A career training. We do have some programs. Again, our P2P grant, which was supposed to be done in June 30th, has now been extended to December 31st because the funding, we have more funding because we haven't been able to run the right amount of classes. We have welding, CNC, and manufacturing classes with WDI and the college. Manufacturing classes are held in the jail, the county detention centers, and then welding and CNC are classes we are running. We don't have CNC in Red Wing yet. I don't know if we'll get there, but we have the welding classes, and it's been a great class. Students love the class. Go on. We've had many that go on. We have a couple that are going on to college now, and a number that are working in the welding program or welding career field. Currently online health class. This is kind of hopefully the wave of the future for a lot of classes, and it helps our students where our students are taking an online class that's being run through that ABE program in St. Cloud. When they have completed the program, they'll get 4 college credits. So we have actually 4 of our students are taking this class and sharing students and determining who gets those hours, because again, our funding comes from hours, has been an issue that we're working through. But this is an exciting wave of I think, for the future for our students who are interested in different careers, that we have different options for them. We have an online admin assistant program that is online that we've developed and are working on getting this ready so we can get students involved. We've had 1 student that's taken the course, and we'll work on getting that up more going in the future. English language learner class. Lake City, we had a class going. COVID stopped that, of course. We were doing online class, but the instructor has quit. So we are currently serving our students through a tutor program that we've been working very diligently to get off the ground. So we hired a volunteer coordinator who is working to help me with that. So currently we have 9 tutors working with 9 students, a couple from Red Wing. The tutors are all from Lake City. This is exciting and something that I want to develop so that we can get to all the towns, or at least more of our consortia towns, and have these classes tutors available for all the students that want to work with one. In Red Wing, we're working synchronous 2 students only. We don't really have an official class, but we're looking at getting class in person going again in May. So we're developing the curriculum and packets that go with that. So that's been nice to have time to do that. Wanamingo, we had a company call and they want us to work with employees. Of course, COVID stopped that, and we will be doing that in the future. Sorry, I'm running out of time on my recording, so I've got to speed up. Partnerships, again, we're working with the state college. We proctor their tests so that we can use, and then we use their room. They're very open with our students. Our students can use all the technology there. It's been a really great partnership. The Goodhue County Adult Detention Center, we can't go into the jail, but we can work with them through Skype, which we have continued to do. We work with Workforce Development Inc., the library, and PROACT